Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Caldwell. I am the proprietor of the Creator's Place on Substack, and I write a newsletter called Understanding Christianity. And today I'm here with Dr. Martina Keast, who is a doctor of ministry, and she is my guest on today. And we have a lot of great things to talk about on today. Dr. Keast, welcome. Um, Thank you for coming. And who is Dr. Martina Keast?
Well, so thank you very much, Kevin,
Mhm.
for first of all for the invitation to join you. And if so, you're asking me who I am.
Mhm.
I can assure you that I am in progress.
Okay.
Okay, and what I mean by that is I was born again in 1984,
Okay.
but I believe I have always had a love for Jesus and even a heart connection with him from little on.
Yes.
But since I gave my heart to him during a very difficult time of my life,
Mhm.
like he's just been drawing me closer and closer and closer. And some of the topics that you will be reading about in my newest book that
Mhm.
I haven't released yet, but I'm working on, is mountains crumble. The mountains will crumble. There's a scripture
Mhm.
in the Bible, and I was at a women's retreat
Mhm.
in, I believe it was 1986, when I looked around in the mountains in um, Louise. Yeah, the word escaped me just now, but it was in the Rocky Mountains here in Canada, in Alberta,
Mhm.
and Lake Louise, that's what it is. And I looked at the mountains and
Mhm.
I said, God, in your word, it says, if I have faith like a little mustard seed, these
Yes.
mountains around me would crumble.
Yes. Right. Right.
you know? And as I was walking between all the women's ministry sessions and all of that, I was walking from up the hill, down the hill,
Mhm.
and praying and saying, I have this mountain and that mountain and another mountain. And I realized my faith isn't even as big as a mustard seed. I believe that
Mhm.
they will crumble,
Yes.
that
Yes.
crumble.
Dr. Keast.
And so I would say, is this 40, almost 40 years later?
Mhm.
I'm guessing 40 years later.
Mhm.
Some of them have crumbled.
Mhm. Okay.
And so when you're asking me about who I am,
Mhm.
it is someone who the Lord has taken me from a place of brokenness,
Mhm.
place of desperation,
Mhm.
right, to someone who when I say I'm in progress, I have not arrived because I will
Mhm.
not arrive until I go to heaven.
Mhm.
But I'm definitely in progress in getting closer to Him and
Mhm.
seeing how He um, helps me
Mhm.
say no to those mountains
Mhm. Mhm.
and to have faith that
Mhm.
those mountains, whatever that mountain is,
Mhm.
we may be talking about some of them,
Mhm.
that they do indeed crumble. Not
Yes.
in my time, but in
Sure.
His.
Yes. And that's a
Let's
very
let's go
important
with
point.
that. Yeah.
That's a very important point you make, not in your time, in his time. Um, uh, I can speak to that from, from my own life experiences that, a lot of things that I've been waiting for, been wanting to happen,
Mm-hmm.
um, haven't happened in my time, in the time that I, you know, would have expected them to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a deliberate choice to wait on God. Some things have happened, after a waiting period. Um, I can think of, for example, a prayer that I had long standing about my healing in certain areas of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was losing my eyesight back in the early 2000s, and praying to God for healing and so forth. And I had to make some changes that took a long time
Mm-hmm.
for that whole process to play out. And so I think um, that is true for a lot of people in a lot of different circumstances, that God is using their circumstances, our circumstances, to make changes to us
Mm-hmm.
gradually over time so that, he can bring us to what he has planned for our lives at that moment in time that we're expecting. And so,
Mm-hmm.
um,
And I think if I can add to that,
mhm,
when we're in a moment of expectation, and
mhm,
depending on what the situation is,
yes,
maybe it's relational, maybe someone has been through sexual abuse, maybe someone has been through alcoholism in the family and violence and those
mhm,
kinds of things.
mhm,
And in my own experience,
mhm,
I went to a place of amnesia, right?
okay,
Where my brain
mhm,
shut down.
yeah,
My
mhm,
brain said, we're not going to remember these things because emotionally you are not able to handle it.
yeah,
So then walking down the hill, looking at the mountains,
mhm,
one of my mountains is addressing the emotional pain.
yes,
So, how do you do that when
mhm,
God makes you wait?
yes,
So you say, yes, God, I'm willing to take a look at that pain and how
mhm,
excruciating that was.
mhm,
But can you please heal me of it? Can you take it away? He doesn't.
right,
He
right,
doesn't. He actually seems to allow it to get worse,
yes,
right?
yes,
And so internally we go so deep, and
mhm,
I don't know about you, but
mhm,
sometimes I drive around here,
mhm,
whether it's in the city or in the country,
mhm,
and I just screaming because the pain is so great.
mhm,
And
mhm,
anybody driving by, sometimes I wonder what they think, but
mhm,
it's not really important. It's that we have to release
yeah,
what's inside of us, because the more we stuff it,
mhm,
the more we are not able to live freely. We
right,
have to be able to let go of those emotions that hold us
yes,
hostage. I call it holding us hostage.
yes, yes,
So in that regard, a lot of my writing, a lot of my even my art, a lot of my music, those kinds of
mhm,
things you wish to talk to me about, it's about letting go of the emotional stuff that is on the inside,
yes,
giving it up to God. And I years ago I used to say, okay, God, I'm giving this to you. And as I give it to you, fill me with more of you, right?
yes,
I had no idea what I was asking about.
mhm, mhm,
I didn't know he was going to literally fill me with so much creativity that my head explodes or my
yeah,
heart
yeah,
explodes. Like,
yeah,
what do I even do with this?
yes, yes,
But walking by faith, praying,
mhm,
like you're referring to as well, to
mhm,
praying and then seeing him in his time
yeah,
bring healing, make changes.
right,
For not for a minute would I want any of your listeners or my listeners to, and if any of my people are listening to this, they know me already, that
mhm,
I would never say that living the Christian life is easy.
right, right.
It's not rosy.
It's not, it's not, it's not what many people may misconceive it to be. You know, we live in a fallen world just like everybody else. We all live in a
Mm-hmm.
fallen world, and that means that there is evil in this world
Mm-hmm.
that affects us as human beings. Um, sickness, disease, um, moral failures, and acts of aggression, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as Christians, Jesus says his yoke is easy and his burden is light. When you contrast to when you contrast that with, for example, when Jesus met Paul on the Damascus Road, he said, Paul, it's hard for you to kick against the prick, to go against the grain, Paul, basically Jesus was letting him know Paul was persecuting the church, and Jesus was letting him know that you are fighting against himself. He is the truth, the way, and the life. And, so that comparison to compare, going away from truth compared to going towards truth, it's a different burden. It's a different load. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not an easy road as many have thought it to be, in terms of like, okay, all your problems go away, but that's not true. Jesus
Mm-hmm.
said, you know, he would be with us in our problems, which makes our load lighter because he is helping us go through our problems. And
Right.
so that's how I see the difference, where the difference is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Now, he doesn't leave us whether we're actually like myself,
mhm,
okay? I did not accept the calling
mhm,
of the musical calling that he's given me. I heard him clearly say what to do,
mhm,
but I said, yeah, that ain't going to happen because that's just not me, you
mhm,
know.
mhm,
So now he never left me
mhm,
because um, I said that to him. He didn't leave me. He
mhm,
just, oh my goodness, I just have something popping up here in front of me.
mhm,
Um, he just kept listening to my prayers,
mhm, mhm,
and he kept answering them,
mhm,
right? He kept guiding me, he kept directing me.
mhm,
And I have these things popping up in front of my
mhm. It's okay.
computer here.
That's all right. I
And
can't see them.
yeah, you can't see them, but they're very, very distractive. But even though through all those kinds of distractions, right, that we
Mhm.
experience,
Yeah.
maybe saying, you know what, the identity that you have for me, I don't see that.
Right.
Excuse me, but I don't get that. So
Mhm,
I think you're wrong. Kind of, I'm just going to do my own thing.
mhm,
He lovingly, gracefully
mhm,
continues to guide us.
mhm,
You know, he did that with me,
mhm.
even though my refusal was very strong, right?
Okay.
Because he knew my heart. He
Yeah.
knew why I couldn't see that.
Right.
He knew who I'd been listening to, what I'd been thinking, and how. But he also knew what he placed it in me.
Right. Right.
So, and I know we're going to talk more about that, but it's the identity then, not really seeing
Mhm.
what he has for us, right? Which
Right.
is another one of those mountains, right? Because
Yeah.
if we are basing our life on the childhood identity that we accept it,
Mhm, mhm.
knowingly or unknowingly, we just ran with it.
Yeah.
It's quite a fight, and just like
Yes.
you're, exchanging the load. It's
Yeah.
work. It's
Right.
work.
Yes.
It's giving of our baggage, giving it to him, and taking
Yes.
on the new stuff,
Right.
and then giving up more, and so
Yes.
yeah.
I want people to know a little bit about you, give people an overview of who
Hmm.
you are. You were born in Germany and you,
Yes.
you migrated to Canada,
Hmm.
okay? And you let's see, I want to ask you about, okay, so you have a ministry called Sky North Music, Elim, Elam Oasis of Inner Healing,
Hmm.
and you're a masterful artisan. So what is Sky North Music? How did that come about?
So, do you want me to first respond to your what you said about me being from Germany?
Sure,
Because
sure,
it'll
yes.
all, I believe it'll all kind of fill.
Yes.
in the information about the different ministries I have.
Hmm.
So, yes, I was born in Germany,
Hmm.
and I was born 8 days before my parents got married.
Okay.
So, I was kind of conceived under a lot of shame and finger pointing and those kinds
Hmm.
of things.
Hmm.
And my mom gave up her dream of
Hmm.
going to Dr. Oetker. She wanted to go to the cooking school, right?
Hmm.
That dream. So, and I say some of these things because I know that we carry
Hmm.
our mother's dreams,
Hmm.
fulfilled or unfulfilled,
Hmm.
within ourselves, within
Hmm.
our being, right? And so I felt most of my life until the Lord healed me from that, until I
Hmm.
recognized it, gave it to Him, right?
Yeah.
And He gave me a new burden of love.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
I felt that I had destroyed her life,
Okay.
right? I felt really terrible that
Hmm.
I was conceived.
Hmm.
My parents were alcoholics,
Hmm.
and during some times in our life, uh, we ended up living. My two sisters and I. We ended up living with my maternal grandfather, who was an alcoholic, who was a very violent man.
Hmm.
And so we saw, as children, five
Hmm.
and under, the three of us, we saw a lot of things that we should have never experienced.
Yes.
And I'll share one thing. And
Hmm.
one thing, my one of my aunts was 8 months pregnant, and her father, my grandfather, was chasing her with a knife,
Hmm.
and she jumped out of a window to save
Hmm.
herself. So
Hmm.
those are some of the things that we saw.
Hmm.
And and then later on, there would be three more children. So
Hmm.
we had a very large
Hmm.
family. And my understanding, and my parents always made it clear that because we had such a large family, and my parents were so poor,
Hmm.
and my mom wanted six more kids,
Hmm.
their extended family did not accept us.
Okay.
So yes, we were a large family, six girls and parents,
Hmm.
and we had a big extended family in Germany,
Hmm.
but it was really, we were not really welcome.
Okay.
When we did go to visit,
Hmm.
we had to be of utmost obedience. We had to sit on the couch, from oldest to youngest,
Hmm.
not say anything while the adults were playing cards and drinking tea and coffee and stuff like that.
Yes.
So those are the kinds of things that I experienced. Of course, there were, fun ones too. We went to the ocean. We did took a trip to Sweden and things like that. So there were some beautiful experiences, but it was mostly very difficult.
Hmm.
Then coming to Canada, then that more and more difficulties happened,
Hmm.
and for me because I was the oldest,
Hmm.
right? The younger ones, they don't remember.
Yeah.
I believe a lot of us, we were so traumatized in our childhood that
Hmm.
we just had no memories.
Hmm.
The minute I came to Canada,
Hmm.
I forgot ever having lived in Germany.
Oh, wow. Wow. How
Yes,
about that? How
I
old were you?
was 16.
16. Okay.
16 years were wiped away. And
Hmm.
when I had to start going to school,
Hmm.
and my English was very limited,
Hmm.
kids would ask, well, blah, blah, blah. I would just say, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Hmm.
But honestly, I had no memories. It was
Hmm.
all wiped away.
Hmm.
And then as immigrants, it was very difficult because, again, I was the oldest, speaking very little English, but I had to help my parents who were jobless all of a sudden. And so I just went through a lot of difficult things
Hmm.
coming to Canada. And just a lot of those mountains that I
Hmm.
talked about at the beginning of the segment, just a lot of mental struggles, mental illness,
Hmm.
then being experiencing sexual abuse to a from a predator who
Hmm.
the judge called him a predator.
Hmm.
And you will read more about that in my book, and so
Hmm.
and so. And maybe we will talk more about some courses I'm offering if some of the listeners are interested in addressing any kind of issues like that in their life. I'm going to be offering a new course.
Sure.
And so, but really trying to address a lot of my own pain and
Hmm.
suffering,
Hmm.
while, you know, learning to set boundaries, taking responsibility for my own actions. And because with the kind of life I lived as a child and then as a young adult and then as a young mother, I allowed a lot of uh, bad things
Okay.
come into my children's lives as well,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
Took me a long, long, long time to forgive myself over that.
Hmm.
But again, it's another one of those mountains, right? Until I can forgive myself, the Lord can't really enter and fill me with His love and His grace.
Right.
And so, so some of those things I have worked through.
Hmm.
And how is that for an answer for your question?
It's very,
My ministries that
yes,
come out of all of that, right?
yes,
So
yes.
as a child, I was in a marching band in Germany. I don't know where that came from, but I was
Hmm.
able to play almost every instrument I
That's
ever
amazing.
picked up,
Yeah.
right? And in this book here, I have my entire story.
What's the name of that
Uh,
book?
it's called The Answer: Searching for Something That Was Missed.
By,
It's available at PageMaster Publications here in Edmonton.
and your name, Martina Keast, Dr. Martina Keast is on it.
Well, it is definitely mine. I don't see my name on it. I'm not sure why. Uh, I call it a project of Elam Oasis of Inner Healing.
Can
So
can you hold it up one more time?
I certainly can.
Okay.
And it comes with the CD.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great.
And this is a live recording that we did we raised $700 Canadian
That's
for a children's
great.
prison in Uganda. So
That's great.
again, what I'm saying is in my childhood, then I had all these musical experiences.
Hmm.
And when even in Canada, I would maybe work in a restaurant or something, and there was a piano. I kind of tinker away in a piano and get some tunes and never knowing,
Hmm.
never knowing that this is something from God, right?
Yeah.
I always had that desire to do
Hmm.
something with music.
Hmm.
And so to talk about Sky North music, okay,
Hmm.
we need to wait a little bit to get there. But
Okay.
this is definitely um, some of the beginning was in my childhood,
Hmm.
and then the tinkering wherever I saw a piano, and then when I was hired. It's a long story, but I was hired as a intake worker at a downtown mission here in Alberta,
Hmm.
and I became an intake worker, a chaplain, and
Hmm.
then I ended up through Pastor Allen.
Hmm.
I'm just going to mention his name because he's in
Hmm.
a lot of my writings.
Okay.
He is the one who looked after the recovery program,
Right.
and
Dr. Keith, I need to interrupt you right there.
yes,
Pastor Allen, we have less than a minute left. We're going to log
okay,
off and come back on, and you're talking about Pastor Allen at the
yes,
ministry. So hold that
okay,
thought. All right.
sounds good.
Thank
Yes,
you. Okay, so I was just telling you off camera
yeah,
about the instruments that I play. Actually, the instruments we both play because you play the drums, I play the drums, you
yes,
play the guitar.
yes.
I'm I play a little bit of the guitar, a little bit of the bass guitar, and I'm learning how to play the acoustic guitar at a very slow pace. And I played the saxophone um, starting in the fourth grade. all the way up
Mhm.
through high school and beyond. So I have those three instruments under my belt, but you have more than that. So, we want to hear more
It
from you.
is, I mean, to me, it's absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
And so in this marching band,
Hmm.
again, that we talked about that briefly before we stopped recording.
Hmm.
So I played every instrument, and I became the person who leads the entire group, right?
Yes.
So call it a mayor. I don't really know what it's called in English, but
Hmm.
they have the baton and they kind of tell people to shout left and
Oh
right, and
yeah. Right.
so I
Yes.
was doing that.
Hmm.
But going back to Pastor Allen and the mission here,
Hmm.
and I don't use the name.
Hmm.
I have been one person of the higher ups said, "Oh, please use our name," and
Hmm.
the other person shamed me to use the name. So
Hmm.
I'll tell you more about that when it comes to this book here. So I
Okay.
don't use the name of the mission, but I do use Pastor Allen's name because
Hmm.
he was very instrumental
Hmm.
in not only allowing me to preach as I was
Hmm.
going through Bible school and that,
Hmm.
but also to I mean, I was learning. This is how I learned to play the guitar.
Okay.
I had a guitar,
Hmm.
and the band, they had a band there. They practiced like every Thursday.
Hmm.
Okay. So I joined them. I
Okay.
didn't ask permission. I just joined, and I was
Hmm.
kind of in the background
Hmm.
following their songs. And if it was a G, I had learned to do a G. I
Hmm.
would only play when a G was on the paper.
Right.
And then slowly I would learn an A or something. And
Hmm.
then I would like, oh, I can play two chords.
Hmm.
And then before you knew it, then I ended up joining them,
Hmm.
singing and playing guitar a little bit. And
Hmm.
and then of course they found out that I had actually been a drummer at a
Hmm.
previous, and which totally shocked me because in a marching band you don't have a drum kit. You
Right.
play every piece on its own.
Hmm.
So, but I learned
Hmm.
to play as part of a worship team.
Hmm.
And very painfully, I was put off to the side when a younger guy, a more skilled guy, showed up on the horizon, and nobody ever told me I wasn't wanted anymore. So there's always pain and
Yeah.
suffering and all the
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So, anyways, then I was asked to if I would play, and I
Mhm.
did, and same thing again. Older woman, a young guy shows up.
Yes. Like that
Yeah,
over here
that's
too.
fine.
It's
Oh,
like that over here too.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But so, but then what happened is Pastor Allen used to do imitations of particular artists, right?
Hmm.
And then I had this idea because I was really good at singing Amy Grant songs.
Yes.
I had this idea,
Hmm.
and actually, I have it here still.
Hmm.
I I put together a recording and a tribute, a concert to Amy
Hmm.
Grant,
Oh wow. How
right,
about that?
with friends,
Uh-huh.
and I recorded it. Now, it's the strangest thing ever, but for my parents, for my family,
Hmm.
I I recorded this CD of Amy Grant of this concert,
Hmm.
not knowing
Hmm.
that that little bit of, how we're talking about the mountains
Yes.
crumbling. I
Yes.
didn't know that that was a mountain in my life that was crumbling as I did some of these very strange things.
Hmm.
And I look at them like, why am I don't know why I'm doing this, but okay, let's
Hmm.
try it.
Hmm.
And so musically speaking, then with Pastor Allen encouraging me to just do all
Hmm.
these. Then I got the band together, and then we had like part two
Hmm.
to the book that you're reading right now is called My Journey to Elam.
Hmm.
I have an entire binder of stuff. I used to, yeah, go ahead.
What mountain you mentioned a mountain crumbling.
Yes.
Is that something you want to just enlighten us about a little bit?
I can. if we're
Small
still speaking about music, I
music.
can,
Right.
because
You were recording for your family. You
yes,
yes.
yes. And then going into, following through, like, uh, so when I say the mountain is crumbling, I didn't realize it. I was
Hmm.
just slowly
Hmm.
stepping into this calling that I didn't even know was a calling by just having fun. And
Yes.
then we would have concerts,
Hmm.
and I would talk about, like, Anne Murray. I don't know if you know Anne Murray, but Anne Murray's daughter
Hmm.
had an eating disorder. So
Okay.
I would talk about eating disorders because I suffered from that, and the people in the
Hmm.
shelter
Hmm.
suffered from a lot of addictions, right? So I would talk about that. I would talk about sexual abuse, and then we did some Carly Simon songs, and we did Karen Carpenter songs, all
Hmm.
those kinds of things. And we had, I think, 3 or 4 not weekends, but 3 or 4 workshops where we played music
Hmm.
in relation to artists whose story I shared, and then would share my own story.
Hmm.
And the people in the shelter were so moved.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm talking about when there's a mountain that's crumbling, right? I was stepping out. So my internal mountain
Hmm.
of shame and guilt and, memory loss, all those kinds of things was crumbling.
Yeah.
But also, as I was experiencing that myself, that moved over to other people's
Hmm.
mountains as well.
Yes.
So, and in that regard, it took me a long time to realize that God really, and I don't know if I would show you all the things I've done musical.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm so slow in catching on, but I think I was really resisting this idea
Hmm.
that God has called me into music,
Hmm.
because what I should say is, God sent me to Bible school
Hmm.
to take a certificate of music.
Hmm.
And I said, well, that's not going to happen because I'm not a musician. I don't know how to do anything,
Hmm.
right? And so I didn't listen. I made a decision to do Christian ministry certificate first, and blah 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 blah. And after 8 years or something like that, I finally completed also the certificate of worship.
Hmm.
Throughout the years, I was taking all these worship songs, and all of a sudden, I completed the certificate of worship, and God moved me from that Bible school to seminary.
Hmm.
I was like, why didn't I just listen to him and do it?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
have had to spend 8 years, probably,
Mm. Yeah. Yes. 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 But thank God he's very patient and long suffering with us, with us all, with us all. Um,
So I don't know if that helps you a little bit
yeah.
about my journey. I'm not sure if you would want to call it stubbornness or really just a lack of understanding how awesome God is
Yeah.
and how much He really knows and
Yes.
sees.
Right.
When my eyes were so close to it, I
Hmm.
had tunnel vision, right?
Hmm.
So close to it, to the truth. And I will just show some of the CDs.
Hmm.
And then if you have any more questions, you can definitely ask them.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so these are the ones
Hmm.
that I have so far recorded. This
Okay.
one,
Wow. How about
and
wow?
this one is my mom's.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, that's your mother's? You
Yeah,
said
before she passed away,
okay.
this is a legacy, a German folk songs. She's
Okay.
playing harmonica
How about that?
and I'm singing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another lady, a
Mm-hmm.
legacy project.
Mm-hmm.
She was 73 or 75 when
Mm-hmm.
I recorded her. She had been playing music all her life, the accordion and piano,
Mm-hmm.
and been received some, of course, encouragement, but a lot of she perceived a lot of negativity.
Mm-hmm.
So when I put her on, she could not believe it.
Mm-hmm.
At
Mm-hmm.
one time, she walked into church, and I had her song and her pictures on YouTube at the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
She stopped. She said, "That's
Mm-hmm.
me," and I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Yes, that's you, Verna.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you
Mm-hmm.
did so awesome." So this one I mentioned, a
Mm-hmm.
fundraiser, and this one is my demo CD, which
Mm-hmm.
now I have published and released
Mm-hmm.
two of
Mm-hmm.
these songs.
Mm-hmm.
And to talk about Sky North music by
Mm-hmm.
itself, I think would take quite a lot of time. If you want to focus on that, we can keep talking. But
Sure.
if you want to go in another direction, I'm willing to do that as well.
I want to talk a little bit more about your Sky North music, and I want to go in the direction of health and wellness, your health and wellness journey. I've been highlighting health and wellness this month as well
Hmm.
as the next month,
Hmm.
and so
Okay.
I want to go into that a little bit. As far as Sky North goes, um, who who does your ministry really focus on? You know, music is far reaching and widespread, so it can. But in terms of your ministry, I know Elam Health has a specific
Yes.
focus on, so if you can answer that.
So I'm all about addiction recovery.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
But my music is experiential
Hmm.
and stream of consciousness writing. So I do stream of consciousness writing.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't think it's on the first recording there, but
Hmm.
I was in school in 2009
Hmm.
when I had to do an assignment of the celebration of discipline,
Hmm.
right? From what's his name, Foster, um, it was Richard Foster.
Hmm.
Now, the final, this is my final.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
The professor said he's never seen something like this before. It was I over 60 pages.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
But when I say stream of consciousness writing, it's like I sat down and the Lord just gave me a download and I couldn't stop till I was done.
Hmm.
And experientially speaking, is I incorporated every one of the ladies. There were 12 soul sisters at this
Hmm.
mission, right? We were doing ministry together.
Hmm.
And he showed me clearly how each discipline
Hmm.
that I was writing about had something to do with one of the people, one of my friends. So
Hmm.
each chapter related to one of my friends. I was just, I mean, I was exhausted.
Hmm.
And so when we're talking about health and wellness,
Hmm.
I have to say to you, my journey with the Lord,
Hmm.
I really, really got mentally ill
Hmm.
first,
Okay.
really.
Hmm.
Because after he gave me this,
Hmm.
right,
And what?
then I put it away for a while.
Hmm.
But out of that, then came this book,
Okay.
right,
What are those
which
books you're
is
holding up?
which is even bigger. I call that the answer
Okay.
spiritual disciplines, right? That's the second step to this one.
What's that one?
This is the one that I just talked to you about it's called From One Soul Sister to Another.
Okay.
That's the that's the school assignment I did.
Hmm. Okay.
And so then out of that stream of consciousness writing, then came this one.
Hmm.
And then I've had other drafts of that since then.
Hmm.
I've burnt an entire manuscript of this and I did a recording of it because I said, Lord, this is too much. What you've given me is too much. I'm letting it go and I'm burning it.
Hmm.
And I posted it on YouTube actually. It's part of my one of my videos.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's letting go, right?
Mm-hmm.
but it's so extensive, the workload that he's given me, that I just, but again, thinking back to mountains crumbling,
Mm-hmm.
my own idea of myself,
Mm-hmm.
I never imagined I'd be a writer. Are you
Mm-hmm.
kidding me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I never ever saw that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I think we switched from music to mental health and wellness. Um, the right? Am I following you correctly?
Yes, and I want to bridge the gap here because
Please.
I know I noticed in your writing how you do music, how you do art, and how you blog or write. And
Mhm.
all three are a form of therapy. And is that how they were born? Is that how what they're intended to be now? They're all three forms of and I thought it was really interesting as I was listening to you some of your courses, if you will, um,
Mhm.
some of your art courses, how you were describing, how to uh, create or let go of things th through prayer and your artwork. Is that something you went to school and learned about? How did that come about? The process of
Okay.
art therapy, so to speak.
So, in everything I do, whether it's the ministry Elam Oasis of Inner Healing,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which is about recovery,
Mm-hmm.
right, from pain and suffering from addictions,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether it's Sky North Music,
Mm-hmm.
which is songs that the Lord has given me.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my personal story
Yes.
written in song, and He just gives them to me.
Mm-hmm.
He would, musically speaking, we were talking about playing guitar.
Yes.
I didn't really know how to play guitar, but He would show me an A.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like, oh, you want me to play an A? So I would
Mm-hmm.
play an A, and then he'd give me another chord and another chord. And that's how I wrote the songs, right? So it's all experiential.
Mm-hmm.
I call it walking by faith, walking in obedience,
Yeah.
even chord by chord,
Mm-hmm.
brush stroke by
Mm-hmm.
brush stroke,
Mm-hmm.
word by word, sentence by sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would like the readers to and listeners to understand is that I believe fully that the Lord, He is the master artesian, right?
Yes.
He has a well up there. He's a master artesian, and His well
Mm-hmm.
flows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
it's been flowing
Mm-hmm.
toward me. And I was actually, for Medium, I'm going to be writing a new blog
Mm-hmm.
about the master artesian, and I have my notes here, which I think, I don't know, I put them somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
uh, moving all this stuff around. But what I'm trying to say is, um, when my daughter, she was my coach at the time, helped me to come up with my brand,
Mm-hmm.
Master Artesian,
Mm-hmm.
I hesitated.
Okay.
I hesitated as much as I hesitated going to Bible school to take the worship certificate,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, that can't be. That's
Mm-hmm.
not me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really that. But He who is that, He flows
Yes.
through me,
Right.
right? And I walk in obedience, and I just follow.
Yes.
I just follow
Mm-hmm.
and do these things and then ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about education, yes, I am now an expressive art practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why? I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I took courses, I
Mm-hmm.
participated, I learned. It was so amazing to pick up a pen and all of a sudden you're sitting in front of a poem.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
what? Where did
Mm-hmm.
this come from? You know?
That's great. That's great.
The picture you have that's behind me is
Mm-hmm.
one of my Elam Oasis of Inner Healing pictures.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I did that with help.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
needed help from
Mm-hmm.
Julie Drew,
Mm-hmm.
who is we I attend her art retreats every year, and then she helps me with my with my art things, like
Mm-hmm.
with the tulips. I
That's
didn't
beautiful.
know I couldn't do them, and but I had
That's
help.
you. So you actually painted that?
Yes,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
and I yes,
And
yes.
this is the other one. Yeah,
I saw
yes.
your painting of the bear on your Substack. I thought that was great. Very, very good. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to slow down and
Hmm.
answer your questions because when I get going, I could just ramble on for hours and hours and hours
Hmm.
because the original book I
Hmm.
wrote,
Hmm.
it was a bunch of papers.
Okay.
They were in a box,
Yes.
and I was driving with my grandsons,
Hmm.
Dylan and Joey. I was babysitting them,
Hmm.
and I was taking them somewhere.
Hmm.
Can't remember when the advertisement came on about Pagemaster Publications here in Edmonton, and I heard the Lord say to me, "I want you to stop there. I want you to take your scribbles, your
Hmm.
box of scribbles, and I want you to take them to Dale."
Hmm.
I thought, what?
Hmm.
You know how I reacted about the music
Hmm.
and how I reacted about the art?
Hmm.
I did that here too, and I thought that's just ridiculous. That's a box of papers, and
Hmm.
some of them I scrunched them up and thought that's
Hmm.
stupid.
Hmm.
But I thought, okay, I'm going to listen. I'm going to
Hmm.
look like a fool, but whatever. You know, I'm going to take my grandsons to a trip to the
Hmm.
publishing place, and then if I have the courage, I'll ask Dale. And I sat down with Dale, and I said, Dale, this is what I heard the Lord say. And to some people, when you talk like that, their antennas go up and they say, crazy,
Yeah, yeah, right.
whatever. I
Yeah.
heard him say to go speak to Dale, and I
Hmm.
did. And
Hmm.
I showed him the scribbles, and I said, I believe the Lord wants me to write this book.
Hmm.
Can you help me?
Hmm.
And it's funny, because he kind of paused. I could almost read his thoughts,
Hmm. Hmm.
but he said, I'm sure we can help you. I'm sure we can help you.
Wow.
So then this was the first little booklet, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm. Hmm.
and this was then the next one.
Hmm.
So everything experiential,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
became a draft.
Hmm.
And this is now the
Hmm.
final version.
Wow, that's great. That's
Eyes that
great.
bind.
That's great.
But what people need to know is what I did not know
Hmm.
is that God was going to use people from the mission where I became a chaplain and a woman's pastor.
Hmm.
He would actually, some of them would write their stories for
Hmm.
this little book. It was a Mother's Day book.
Hmm.
And maybe let me see if I can find a short one here to maybe read, if you like.
Sure.
Let me
And
see if
that's
I
what
can.
it's all about. People may not realize this. As God is giving you these little assignments, He's using those assignments to reach other people, to help other people.
Yes, absolutely. Like this, Joseph here, he was my coworker, right?
Hmm.
And he submitted this story. It's a short one, so maybe I can read it for you.
Sure.
It says it happened one very cold winter night that we were driving home. We happened to go through Skid Row, and Mom spotted a man lying in a snowbank by the railway tracks on 95th Street. My mom turned the car around and went back to where she had seen the man in the snow. She asked me to get out and check to see if he was okay. I did as Mom asked and asked if the man was okay. The man did not answer me. I told Mom that he did not seem to be okay and that he smelled awful.
Mm.
A very strong smell of alcohol and urine.
Mm.
Mom asked me and my sister to help get him into the car. My sister and I protested, but Mom insisted. Mom asked him if he had eaten, and he mumbled that he hadn't. Mom then crossed the tracks, turned the car around, and drove back to KFC. She ordered him a chicken dinner and gave it to him.
Mhm.
After a lot of difficulty, Mom finally got him to give her the address to where he was staying.
Mhm.
Drove him to the address and helped him to the door. I will always remember my mom's generous heart.
Wow. Wow. Yes. Yes.
So this little book here,
Hmm.
I had used the mission because the mission's a name because I was so proud of being part of that mission.
Hmm.
And one of the people in charge said, "Please go ahead, use the name."
Hmm.
But after I printed 250 of these copies,
Hmm.
a new person was in charge,
Hmm.
and he says, "You're not allowed to use the name
Wow.
of the ministry."
Okay.
So, but the people, some of them, they had already read these and they said, "Where's my copy? I want my copy." So I couldn't sell them.
Hmm.
I had to
Hmm.
give them away.
Yeah. Yeah.
250. Okay. Now, this was probably $3 a piece. Could
Hmm.
I afford to give them away? No.
No. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Did I want people to read their stories? And because there's some amazing stuff in here.
Hmm.
Yes, I listened, I
Hmm.
obeyed,
Yeah.
I let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, was it hard to pay my bills? You better believe it. It's very
Hmm.
hard.
Hmm.
For all of my little projects here that God has given me,
Hmm.
um, I'm just being obedient.
Hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And because He never promised that this journey is easy. It's not a
True.
piece of cake.
Very, very true. And he rewards obedience. He definitely rewards obedience. Um, and he even talks about in his word how, suffering through his patience. In other words, we have to sometimes suffer through what he has to suffer through in terms of, getting the results that he ultimately is going to get. and that
Mm-hmm.
and that just takes time. And through that time there comes, difficulty and so forth. So, but he
Mm-hmm.
does reward obedience for sure. Yeah.
I believe He does.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely, sitting in front of a lot of material. I have
Hmm.
done through Elam, Oasis of Inner Healing, my ministry. I do online courses.
Hmm.
Um, this one here, I'll just show this maybe to the audience.
Hmm.
This is one that came to me
Hmm.
as a series. The four projects came to me when I was in seminary.
Hmm.
Okay, this was the first version of it,
Hmm.
and this is the final. And it now comes with an online course. Okay,
Okay. Hmm.
it's called Evil Lurking
Hmm.
from Electric Chair to Kingdom Grace. And this is the workbook that goes
Okay.
with it. They can be found on Amazon under my name.
And what are they about? From electric chair to grace
From Electric Chair to Kingdom Grace. And
kingdom.
so that is this entire work
Hmm.
um, includes characters
Hmm.
that portray my life story
Okay.
of
Okay.
from being so angry with
Hmm.
the person who sexually abused me,
Hmm.
became the father to my children, and whom I could not get away with. It was emotionally taken hostage.
Hmm.
To from the place where if he had ever gone on that electric chair, and he did worse things than doing what he did to me,
Hmm.
to other family members, but I wanted to be the one. I was so angry and so full of rage that I wanted to push that electric chair button, you
Hmm.
know.
Okay.
But through the writing of this,
Hmm.
and I have to tell you, I had like 40, there were 40 some people that read it with me that helped me
Hmm.
work my way, get that mountain to crumble. It takes people, it takes a community,
Yes.
to the place where I was able to forgive
Yeah. Yeah.
and let go. you
Mhm.
know. And he actually passed away last year after being for 22 years in a nursing home for alcoholic brain stem stroke, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
And but I was able to forgive him,
Yes.
truly
Yeah.
forgive
Yes.
a while ago, especially after I finished this.
Yeah.
And I have several graduates
Mhm.
through this course.
Mhm.
And then this one here is called The Dwelling Place:
Mhm.
Reflections on My Journey Toward Spiritual Wholeness,
Mhm.
which is another online course, right?
Mhm.
And you'll
Mhm.
see that is my painting as well.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
a 4x8 painting or something.
Yes. Yes.
Um, Again, other graduates, people have gone through it, and it's a journey toward spiritual wholeness, because when I look at someone who has been an immigrant, someone who's been through sexual abuse, someone who was raised in an alcoholic in a dysfunctional home,
Mhm.
someone sometimes even children grow up in homes and the parents don't mean anything bad to happen to them, but maybe mom is sick. I've
Mhm.
read stories of, mom being mentally ill and inflicting pain on the children. There's so many different ways of how people are hurt when they're younger,
Yeah.
right? And then spiritually speaking, it's really difficult to trust God,
Yes. 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 True.
because we ultimately we think it's all his fault.
Right. Right. Yes, that is true.
And how do you get from that place, that mountain to
Mhm.
crumble, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Where, I had to actually say, Lord, I'm sorry, but I think I hate you.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
hate you for allowing
Mhm.
all this stuff to come into my
Mhm.
heart and into my life. And, but until I was actually honest and
Mhm.
could bring out how I was really feeling,
Mhm.
none of these things could flow,
Yes. Yes.
right? So I'm referring again to mountains crumbling, but it's all experientially. It's actually acting,
Mhm.
not just not just raising the hands and hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Right.
Okay, I've been charismatic. I am
Mhm.
sometimes charismatic.
Mhm.
I have nothing against it,
Mhm.
but we've got to go deeper than
Yep.
that,
Yep.
and not just the very pious, which sometimes I'm very closed off. I'm very
Mhm.
quiet now. I pray quietly, and
Mhm.
not just that. I can't just sit and I have to actually act. So it's a
Yes.
combination.
Yeah.
That's how we
That's
become
true. That's
spiritually well.
true. That's true. And that's also true about our health. A lot of times people will pray for healing
Mm-hmm.
without the action. And action in Jesus's ministry was a part of the healing process more than anything else. And um, so it does require work. Everything is not just um,
Mm-hmm.
faith without works is dead. So
True.
yeah, so we need all of that. So all right, so we're down to about 4 minutes left,
Okay.
and we have a whole lot more we can talk about, and so that we'll have to do on another video. We'll have to bring you back at another time so we can talk more. Um, Briefly, now you have bouts with certain types of sicknesses. Is diabetes one of them?
So, and please forgive me,
Hmm.
those of you who, what I'm about to say, um, it's not appropriate to really speak out our illnesses, because there is some type, of Christians who don't like that.
Okay.
But I believe, again, in being just upfront and honest, and I
Hmm.
believe in the healing power of Jesus. And
Yes.
but yet I need to answer you.
Okay.
And so, yes, I am a diabetic.
Okay. So am I.
Um, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I have asthma.
Okay.
I can't remember all the other things except for lately I was diagnosed with leukemia.
Okay.
And so apparently though,
Hmm.
I don't understand it myself, and I haven't been able to get any answers. Apparently, I've
Hmm.
had it for 13 years, and the
Okay.
doctor just told me last year.
Hmm.
And but I acted on that. You
Yes.
know, I invested again financially. I couldn't really afford it, but I invested in some very good natural products,
Hmm.
and especially single file water, um, which has done something about my cells,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
It
Yes.
cleans the cells because I had liver problems and kidney problems.
Hmm.
But all of that from the blood test has gone from abnormal to normal with me using this water.
Hmm.
And so, and I did really good for a while in changing my eating habits. Right now, I'm not doing so well,
Okay.
but I hope to get back into, and I actually wrote about it on
Hmm.
academia.edu. I have a,
Okay.
I don't know, a 90-page experiential
You said 90
uh,
page?
uh, or more book review on
Okay.
the Gerson therapy. Yeah.
Oh, I'm familiar. Yes. I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Really?
I am. Yeah, I have her book.
Well, I have two of them, and I just finished. So you may want to check out my book review.
Yeah.
It's experiential, right?
Yes.
There is
Yes.
that mountain, and I gotta act through it.
Yes.
And then I want to do uh, the second book.
Hmm.
I want to read it, and which has a lot of recipes in it, which has a lot of things in it that I want to apply and see
Hmm.
if I can't get healthier.
Right.
The diabetes, I'm no longer on any medication.
Oh, that's great. That's great. We're going to
Okay.
stop there. We're going to stop
Yes.
there and bring you back because we're about to run out of time. But
Okay.
that will be um, where we can pick up next time, God
Oh,
willing. So thank you so much, Dr. Martina Keast. It's been my pleasure in talking with you today. And there's a whole lot more. When your new book comes out, can you give the title of the new book?
oh, the GI Joe one.
Yes, I think
GI
that's the. Is
Joe,
that the
God
one I read?
Impact. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
God Impact. Jesus on Active Mission.
yes,
Yes,
yes. Okay.
yes.
Everybody, don't pass that up. Don't let that go. When it comes out, let me know. I'll make it public. It's a moving book. It's a life-changing book for anybody who reads it. So, Dr.
Sounds
Martina
good. I'll
Keys,
be offering a course in January, online course with the
great,
book.
great. And where? Okay, so academia.edu and where else can we find
On
your
Amazon, you can
Amazon?
find me on Amazon and
Okay,
Page Master Publication in Edmonton, Alberta.
okay, okay, great, great.